Yes, fellas, what's going on? Welcome back to the soon to be number one basketball podcast on YouTube, BUZZER BEATER podcast. As always, it's your boy Shiv, joined by Brandon. What's up?
What's up, man? What's up? What's up?
Yeah, everything cool. Yeah, we took a little bit of hiatus. Boy, back right now. The last time we was the second round didn't even start, and now we 2 games into the second round. So let me just dive right into it one time. Let me start. I'll start with the Heat series so far.
Yeah, we know how to start with your boys. You back
Yeah,
as team of this week. As opposed to team of this week.
Oh, hey, dog. Even in football too, dog. I'm just loving life right now, dog.
Yeah,
On the sports
exactly,
side of
exactly.
thing. So, obviously the biggest news in the series so far is that Joel Embiid has been out for the first 2 games. He has been listed out to game 3 at the time of recording, but I think Woj had said something about there's a possibility he could play come Friday, but for right now he is out. Um, but in game 1, we really had Tyler Hero finally wake up. I said it the last time. I said both him and Bam need to step up if we're gonna have any hopes going far in this title run. And they heard me. Both of them had great game ones. Bam partly because he didn't have to go against Embiid. He had to go against old man uh, DeAndre Jordan, who just seems terrible on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. So yeah, like I said, Bam finished with 24 points. Tyler Hero finished with 25. Both led the Heat in scoring. I believe so far Bam has a 90% shooting when guarded by DeAndre Jordan. He has 20 points in that time. I think he's 9 or 10 shooting. So yeah, good stuff. If you're a Heat fan, in this game he had an efficient 80% from the field and perfect from the line, with 12 rebounds to go with it. Hero off the bench, very efficient game, 50 40 100 50 60 100 club, excuse me, 25 points, but and he had 7 assists to go with it as well, which led the team. Wow. So yeah, really good stuff from the Heat boys there. On the other side of things, the shooters from Philly were just poor, and that would kind of ring true to game 2 as well when we brush on it. But yeah, Tyrese Maxey, after explosive start in the first round against the Raptors, has significantly cooled it off. He only finished with 19 points in this game, negative 25, tied for the worst on the team with Tobias Harris. 1 of 6 from 3, not good stuff. And our boy Brick Ross continues to stink it up in the playoffs so far. I believe, I think he has like 30 games played with the 76ers so far. Yet to have a game with over 20 shot
So over
attempts.
20 shots. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was going to tell you that as well. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what happened, but like situations like this where Embiid isn't there and you're the guy, you need to put up a lot more shots than that. But yeah, 5 or 13 from the field, 2 or 7 from 3, 16 points, only 5 assists. How many turnovers? Yeah, 5. So yeah, not good there from James Harden, and they kind of sank in game 1. And like I said, the shooters were really bad. Danny Green 1 of 5, Tobias Harris 1 of 4, Tyrese Maxey 1 of 6. All this is from 3, by the way. Georges Niango, I'm now seeing this for the first time. 0 of 7 from 3. Why was he taking so many 3 points? I don't know. Matisse was 0-2, Furkan Korkmaz 1 or 2. So yeah, terrible shooting night. That was game 1. And I think the same thing rang true for game 2 as well. Trying to pull up this score real quick, but I know off the top of my head that Danny Green shot 1 of 10 from the field and 1 of 9 from 3,
That was
which
one of
is
the big talking points of that game where Danny Green just turned into prime Danny Green.
good old Danny Green there. Just can't seem to get the
Shot
shots
one
to
of
drop.
9 from 3 and only had 3 points.
Mad. Who really started this game? Tyrese Maxey. I said he
Yeah.
cooled off, but I actually didn't realize how good of a game he had. He 12 of 22 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 9-11 from the free throw line, and he had 34 points, which was a really good game from him. James Harden, the less said about him, the better. But there was something that the 76ers did in game 1, I believe, to close the second quarter, which is they went really small. I think the lineup was James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris. I think it was Furkan Korkmaz, and I can't remember who the fifth guy was. But yeah, they went a really small lineup, and they did pretty good. They were scoring the ball pretty well, and they kind of shut down the Heat offense for a little bit. But I don't know why Doc Rivers so stubborn, and that lineup. I can't remember who the fifth guy was, but that 5 guys on the court, they never saw the court ever again in the rest of game 1 and game 2. So it seems like they found the formula, but Doc Rivers just refuses to use it. He insists on sticking with DeAndre Jordan and Who's the other guy? Paul Reed as his centers instead of going small. So I'm not complaining, but that's something interesting to note. Another great game from Bam again, 23 points, feasting with the fact that there's no Joel Embiid. Tyler Hero again off the bench, 18 points. Victor Oladipo, you saw this game, 19 points off the bench, and I think that's really going to be the major difference between the Heat and the 76ers is that they just have no bench production, and we have a lot. Because you look at somebody like Duncan Robinson, who is a sniper from three. He only played 56 seconds over the course of two games. He kind of get cut out of the rotation for Victor Oladipo, and that just kind of shows that how versatile the Heat could be when we need to.
Yeah, the Heat have definitely showed how deep they go in terms of their rosters in this series. So deep that I'm calling it the Oladipo. That's what I'm calling it.
Like that, like that.
And I totally agree with you. Like I didn't see the entirety of the second game, but I did see the last the second half of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, Oladipo was the standout performer. Like he added an energy to the team that I actually haven't seen because I haven't seen him play for the entire season. And I think he's brought a different dimension, and he looks as if he suits the Heat mentality.
Yeah.
You know that mentality that they have down there. That Pat Riley and culture have really have really festered over the past few years. So I think he fits in really well, and I think if he continues to play like this, I think the Heat are big favorites to. I don't even think you could drop a game in this series, you know, Shiv. Even if Embiid comes back,
yeah,
I think it will be tough because those first two games, being down 2-0 and trying to come back, I think it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I think so as well. And like I said too, with Embiid being out for game three, as far as we know at the time recording, and I think if you go down 3-0, there's no point in trying to force him back because 3-0 it's pretty dire. I mean, I can never say never because sports is a very crazy thing, as the Champions League showed this week. But it's highly unlikely that they would do anything. So I think instead of just risking Embiid with the eye injury, with the concussion, and with the thumb ligament injury, I don't think it makes sense rushing him back. So just take the L on this one and you come again next season if you're the 76ers, if they lose game three.
Yeah, to be fair to the 76ers though, I thought that they actually kept this game. They actually kept this game. If you look at the quarter scores, they actually kept the game respectable for like the majority of the game because they didn't. I think the most they lost by was 7, and that was the first quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first quarter they lost by 7, and that was really the only quarter that they actually got blown out, like of the park. But they're just missing. Without Embiid, you can see that they really lack that one particular player to get them over the line. But when Embiid comes back, I just feel like the Heat will just put a lot more focus onto him. Plus, he's already injured, and he has to just like think about getting back into the whole rhythm of things. And I think they'll just throw him off.
Yeah.
So I think y'all are in a pole position to get out of the series.
I hope so as well. Going to the other series, that's 2-0 in round 2. We have your boys, the Mavericks, who things not quite going their way yet. Well, what's been going on with the Mavericks so far against the Suns?
Definitely not. So in the first game, that game ended 121 to 114. Luka had 45, 12 and 8, but unfortunately that was really all that happened for the Mavericks. Maxi Kleber again putting on his excellent 3-point display. He ended with 19 points, but the problem with the Mavs is that they are playing the best team. They're the best team in the NBA, unfortunately. Yeah. Because when you have CP3 and you have Booker and you have DeAndre Ayton, you know how you and I have always talked about Jay Crowder, how he's the ultimate role player, and when you also have what's his name, Mikal Bridges, who came second in Defensive Player of the Year. You have JaVale McGee coming off the bench. You have Cam Payne, you have Landry Shamet, and when you look at this Suns team, everything points towards them getting out of this series. Like, I expect the Mavs to take a few games off of them, but I don't see any way that the Phoenix Suns don't get out of this series. And the truth is, Shiv, and I'll be real honest with you, you know how much I love Luka, but right now, he gives me so much James Harden out of Houston vibes.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of ISO plays when it comes to him. he's scoring the majority of the points. His teammates sometimes just falter most of the time, and I don't know. I feel like Luka needs to trust his teammates a lot better, a lot more. Sorry, because in the first game, Jalen Brunson, who averaged 28 points in the first series against Utah, he's only averaging 11 points now. So that's a 17-point difference that you've lost.
Exactly.
Between that first series and this series, and in the first game they lost by 7 points.
Oh.
But the second game was like that was the real statement game because I don't know if you saw any of that game, but
yeah, I watched that game. It was close until like the fourth quarter.
Oh yeah, and in the fourth quarter, CP3 just took over us.
Yeah.
He thought. To tell you how good CP3 was, he ended up with 28 points, and I think people are going to remember him. And the funny thing is, Booker ended the game with 29 points, or 30 points.
Yeah, that's crazy. Though.
Yeah, put 30 points. Yeah, Booker ended with 30 points. But everybody remembers CP3 because of that insane fourth quarter that he had. CP3 in the fourth quarter is one of the most inevitable things I've ever seen. Between last year and this year, it's one of the most inevitable things that I've seen, and it's almost like you can't stop him sometimes. Even if you look at the box score, Shiv, Mikal Bridges was plus 31 for the game. That just tell you how insane defense they played on the entire team. And they started to pick on Luka, and they started to like go after him, and they started to like try to get all their points off of him. So right now, Jason Kidd and the Mavericks have a lot of work to do. They're going back home, so I hope that they'll be able to pull it through. They're going to come up with some scheme that's going to be different. These other players need to step up because in the second game, Dinwiddie went 3 for 10, and that's not going to cut it. And Jalen Brunson was 3 for 12. So combined, they were 6 for 22. That is not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it for anybody. Reggie Bullock did the best that he could. He made 4 from 8 from 3. He ended with 16 points, but he was still minus 24 for the game. Yeah. So the Mavericks are in a really tough spot right now. And if they, I believe, if they don't win the first game, well, if they don't win game 3, they're going to get swept.
Yeah, I think so as well. But I think they'll be able to pull it out and take at least one game home because I think the Mavericks are so good at home. We saw that in the first round against the Jazz. So I think they would be able to pull it out. But going back to what I think Luka definitely does need to trust his teammates a little bit more, especially Jalen Brunson, who is his number 2 guy clearly in Dallas right now. But at the same time too, if you watch the eye test, he makes so many great passes, but the guys, whenever they get this and they shoot it, they just seem to brick it the majority of the time.
Luka also had 7 turnovers for the game, and he had 7 assists, which is not good. And the truth is, Luka, I think for this season, he averaged the most turnovers in the league.
Yeah.
And I think like even in the first play of the game, Shiv, in this game too, he literally turned the ball over. Like he tried to find something, he tried to kick the ball out. I went straight out of the play. So he needs to find a way to balance because the saying when they say how LeBron always makes the best play.
Yeah.
I think what Luka tries to do is that he runs towards the basket and he tries to make the right play by kicking out the ball, but sometimes the right play is actually going towards the basket and scoring or picking up the foul. Mm-hmm. So I think in his mind he needs to figure out when do I kick and when do I go for the basket? Because he's also in a tough spot because he scored 45 in the first game and they lost.
Yeah.
So in his mind, he was probably like, oh, well, I probably need to kick this out instead of scoring because I scored the points last game. I didn't win. So maybe if I kick it out, we'll actually win. So he needs to find some kind of balance. And the Mavericks on the whole need to play a better defense as well. They also ran into foul trouble, but
I think
it's tough.
Yeah, I think the Suns defense are just a little bit too much for them, and I think that's where the difference will come because both teams do have great offensive players, but I think the defense is really going to make the difference.
The defense is really the decisive factor in this series.
And so far the Suns have clearly shown they have the better defense. As one quick thing, where were you when JaVale McGee pickpocketed Luka Doncic and took it coast to coast?
I was sitting on my bed watching it.
I was
hit the floor.
Yeah, I was on the couch and I couldn't believe what I just saw.
Yeah, and then he goes coast to coast and absolutely slams it on the other end. I was like, oh my god. At that point I knew Dallas wasn't winning that game.
Yeah.
But shout out my boy Luka. He is he's now the top point scorer in playoff history. He is now leads Michael Jordan by point 1 point
I'm mad.
in points per game. So that's kind of a crazy stat if you really think about it. He's only played 18 games, but or is it 18 or 19 games or something like that,
It
and
is.
he has the most points in playoff history. So
That's
points per game in playoff history, which is
crazy.
kind of mad.
So we move on to the games where there were two, but the other two games we have to talk about, the tied one apiece going into game three, which is interesting. Let's start with the Bucks and the Celtics. Um, a series that's really going to be decided by which team has the better defense in the end, because these two teams are defensive juggernauts. I believe the Celtics finish as the number one defense, and when you have Giannis on the team, who we both agree is the best player in the world and the best defensive player in the world, you're gonna have it's gonna be a battle of defenses. In this game one, it was so weird because the Bucks really pulled away very early on. I think Marcus Smart went down early. Giannis had a bad game by his standards. 9 of 25 shooting.
Triple double.
Exactly, but he still put up a triple double with
Yeah.
24 points. So even though Giannis had a bad game, he still got a triple double and they still won. And what I've noticed this series specifically with Giannis is his playmaking has significantly improved. Like I haven't watched a lot of the Bucks through the regular season, but I don't know if this is something that he was doing all season or if he just like took a step up in the playoffs. But his playmaking has been absolutely phenomenal, and if he could keep doing this, then the league's in trouble for the rest of the playoffs. That's all I can say.
Yeah, this is one of the this is the most this is the hardest series to call in my opinion, because not just because both teams have exceptional defense, but I also think, Shiv, that this series will be decided by whichever duo does not flop. Because in the first game, I think we could all agree that Jason Tatum and Brown did not have their best game, and Giannis did not have his best game. But Drew Holiday actually had probably the best game
Out of the four,
out of the four of them. And then if you look at the second game, Jalen Brown had the best game, because he went 11 for 18. He had 30 points. Tatum had 29 points. And then you look on the other side, Giannis had 28 points off 27 shots,
That's not good.
and Holiday had 19 points off 20 shots. So
Yeah, so the
I
defense
mean,
definitely stepped up.
yeah, and with Middleton not returning for the entire series, the Bucks need to rely on those two. And you're also not gonna win a game if Brook Lopez takes two shots and makes
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
and Wes Matthews plays 30 minutes and makes one shot as well, right? So the Bucks need to figure it out in terms of how they're gonna get more production from the other players. I mean, Bobby Portis is like standard. He made 5 or 7, which is pretty good. He had 8 rebounds, he had 13 points. So I mean, he did as much as he could in the grand scheme of things. But Pat Connaughton had 13 points. Grayson Allen only had 5. Well, I think this was the game when Jalen Brown dropped Grayson Allen on the floor.
Yeah, it is. It is. We love to see that.
Like, oh boy,
Yeah,
oh boy, oh boy. And no, and they didn't see him for like 12 minutes after that. And then he made a grand appearance afterwards.
Yeah.
So far the series has been really good. I actually thought after the first game that the Celtics were gonna get swept. But now I think this one is gonna go 7. But I can't tell you who's gonna win at 7.
Yeah, me too. Because it's such a polarizing thing. Because there was a game one blowout by the Bucks in game one, and there's a game two blowout by the Celtics in game two. So it's really polarizing. So like I say, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Which duo is gonna flop is gonna be determinant who's gonna lose the series. So who knows who's gonna come out more hot in game three. The Bucks gonna have home court advantage because they stole game one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So once the Celtics could still win those two games, I think it would go to 7. If the Bucks win both of them, then they'll probably get them out to then 5 or 6. But,
so because now that it's basically a 5-game series now, right?
Yeah.
And the challenge that Boston has is that they only have 2 of those 5 games at home. Ooh, that's the challenge, because the Bucks now have the two games back to back next games, and then they have the one other one at home. So if Milwaukee can take those 3 games at home, then I think, well, obviously they're going to be good, but the Celtics need to. It is imperative. Well, it's not even imperative. They have to take one of those games off of Milwaukee. They have to.
Yeah.
Because I actually think the first game that they lost, that might end up being the nail in the coffin, and that was at the beginning of the series. because
Yeah,
you could this is a series where you can't split those double home games.
exactly.
You need to leave home those double games with a 2-0.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think the Celtics will have a tough road ahead of them, especially going back to Milwaukee.
I think it all comes down to game three, to be honest, because like you say, if the Bucks able to take it, they for sure gonna wrap it up. But why it's important too is because the Celtics have the momentum right now, technically, because they came off the huge game two win, so they have all the momentum right now. So it's up to them to carry that momentum over into game three. But if Giannis and them able to stop them and take game three, then I think it's game over for the Celtics.
Yeah, I agree. It's the most fascinating series that we have, but and hopefully we get 7 games out of it. I mean, I can only hope, right?
Yeah, you say the most fascinating series we have, but I think this next one we're gonna talk about
Oh yeah.
is the most entertaining series. We could say then,
Hmm.
if that's the most fascinating, this is the most entertaining series. The Grizzlies and the Warriors currently one apiece after the Warriors took game one after Ja couldn't get the buzzer beater to go, and after game two where they took care of business, that's the Grizzlies, and they tied the series up. But yeah, looking at game one, I think the interesting thing was that Clay Thompson had a very poor shooting night, and he did in game two as well. But only 30. Well, I say poor, but like for a guy that of Clay Thompson's how we know him to be, it was a bad night. Only finished with 15 points, 3 of 10 from three, 6 of 16 overall, 0-2 from the free throw line, and those two free throws that he missed almost cost him the game. But I think the real talking point was Draymond Green getting ejected for a flagrant two. Initially, I didn't think it
Yeah.
was. Initially, I didn't think it was, but I saw an angle where you could actually clearly see the slap and the drag down. So I was like, okay, yeah, I think that's fair. What do you think about that though?
What the call itself or the flagrant two? Because I feel like the focus has been a lot about like what is a flagrant two. Like the whole NBA sphere has been trying to figure out if it was a flagrant two or not. If I'm being real honest with you, Shiv,
Yeah,
when I saw the initial hit, I was like, okay, that might be a flagrant. But then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? The pull is really the part that everybody has a problem with.
mm-hmm.
Because the pull down is like, okay, it was unnecessary. But is it really bad in the grand scheme of things? Like he just like pulled him down to prevent him from getting to the basket. So
Yeah,
I mean I kinda understand why some people think it's not a flagrant two. But at the same time, Draymond's reputation is like I think he gets a lot of calls because of who he is.
yeah.
And I think that was one of those situations. At least we got a great meme out of it because I'm sure you've seen the video of when he was giving
Dapping
everybody
them up,
a high
yeah.
five after the game. That's one of the greatest memes I've ever seen. It's
Yeah, I saw some funny ones with it too. But and it was just
yeah,
hilarious. I just came out after the game with just regular clothes on. but
yeah. But I think for me, I would not have given that a flagrant two. I would
ooh,
not have because another thing to Shiv, and I think this sounds kind of weird, but sometimes keep taking those players out of the game doesn't do the game justice.
yeah, I get what you mean.
Like, I think Draymond would have played a totally safer game, knowing that he had a flagrant one,
Mm,
and like the game would have been totally different from his
yeah,
perspective, from the ref's perspective, from even the Memphis perspective. It would have been totally different. So I don't know, but luckily for the Warriors, they actually won that game,
yeah.
and then yeah.
Well, I was looking at it from the flip side of the coin. I was looking at it from Memphis instead. In my head, I was like, this is the game you have to win because Draymond Green was out. I think that was in the second quarter, so he was out for the majority of the game. I was like, this is the game you need to win. And yeah, I told him to, you can't afford the Warriors to do this because, well, this is before knowing about what happened in game two. But I was like, you're not going to get this bad of a shooting night from Steph Curry and those guys because the only one that shot well was Jordan Poole. I mean, Steph Curry is 5 for 12. That's decent, but you're not gonna get a bad shooting night like that from Clay ever again. So I thought. So I was like this, and you had Draymond ejected. It's like this is the game you need to win, and they gave it to Jazz to close it, and I wasn't a fan of that because I thought it would have been better if they used Jazz as a decoy, maybe have him drive to the basket and again kick it out to Desmond Bain and one of the other shooters outside. Because if you look at it, actually, probably not Desmond Bain because he was having a poor night. He only finished with 9 points. But Jaren Jackson, who has been getting into foul trouble in the previous series, he didn't get too much in this game. He had 33 points, which was good. So maybe they should have kicked it out to him to win the game, but they eventually didn't. I don't even think he was on the floor to close the game, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, I was like that's the game that got away from Memphis, and they're gonna regret that. And they're probably gonna get swept. But little did I know.
And then the second game came about.
Yeah, and then the second game came along and it proved me completely 100% wrong. So I just trying to put up the score real quick for game two, sorry. But this was an incredible game from John Morant. He took over this game. I believe he finished at 45 or 47, which
47
is
points. That's the most. I think that's the most in the playoffs so far, right? I don't think anybody has more than 47.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I think he has the highest in the playoffs so far.
Yeah.
The highest even individual score, yeah.
Yeah. And the three was dropping for him today, which was interesting because there were points to close in the fourth quarter where he took some threes. And I'm like, dog, why are you taking that? But then I went to I'm like, oh, well, you know better than me, let me and keep my mouth shut. But yeah, this was the John Moran game where he, like I said, gave it to Steph Curry. He was talking some smack after, hitting a few shots in Steph Curry's face, and really, get on the guy's skin a little bit, which is fun to see because I know him and the Warriors just in general, John Morant and the Warriors just in general, they have some kind of underlying tension because I don't know if you remember the Iguodala stuff that happened like 2 years ago. So I know they don't really like each other. But if it had one dirty play, if you want to call it a dirty play in game one, we had an even dirtier play in game two with Dylan Brooks whacking
Gary Payton. Holy crap,
whacking him in the side of the head. And unfortunately, Gary Payton fractured his elbow and he's gonna be out for about a month. So if you're gonna see him again, it'll be if the Warriors get to the finals. That's the only time we will be able to see him again. Because the finals start in about a month from now. So yeah, that's unfortunate. And he went down very early
tough
too.
for him because he's been such an integral player for the Warriors this season. Like he's been exceptional defensively this season. I think they lost a big piece of their puzzle there.
Yeah, and I think he's the only guard they have in the rotation that could slow Ja Morant down because as you see, he went down only playing 3 minutes, and Ja Morant went over 47. So we're gonna see how the Warriors gonna have to adjust to not having him to guard Ja anymore. Are they gonna throw Draymond on him? Probably, but we'll see.
Probably. I mean, in the second game, Steph also didn't have a great shooting, a great 3-point shooting game because he only went 3 of 11.
As a team, they were combined 7 of 38.
Yeah.
Which
7 of 38. You're not going to win anything with 7 of 38, right?
Yeah, I never going to see the Warriors shoot like that ever again.
That reminds me of like the Utah series when Utah only made 3 of 30 or whatever it was. And I was like, well, you're not going to win with that. Obviously.
Yeah, you can't do anything with that.
Right?
Yeah.
There was also something else. Oh yeah, shit, there's another thing I wanted to talk about in respect to this game. Ja took 13 free throws. And one of the criticisms I had for Ja, like during the regular season, is that for somebody who goes up to the rim so frequently, he doesn't shoot enough free throws.
Yeah.
And in this game in particular, he made 12 of 13, and that is exceptional. That is great. Yeah. I can live with that every day of the week, especially if you shoot 5 or 12 from 3 and 15 or 31 from the floor.
Yeah, this was the Ja takeover game. Yeah. But even though it's great to see Ja take over this, it's not a good sustainable thing for the Grizzlies long term. Jaren Jackson, who I mentioned, had a brilliant game one. He absolutely stank up the bed in game two. He fouled out in 28 minutes. Only had 12 points, 3 or 14 from the field, which is horrendous. So I don't know why is he like this? He's so hot and so cold one game and the other. And he's a really talented guy who I think is one of the best young forwards up and coming in the league. But he just needs to stay out of foul trouble. I think that's his biggest issue.
Yeah, we've also seen this pattern with the Grizzlies also in the Timberwolves series where we think they're down and then they come back and then they're down again and then they might come back. So they're a very roller coaster team. I don't know. So if the pattern is correct, Golden State will win the next game. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I know they have to go back to Golden State, which is tough.
Not a fun place.
Nobody wants to play Golden State in that arena.
Yeah. But yeah. So I think the Warriors have been really bad these last 2 games, which is very interesting. So hopefully going home, I forget the name of the stadium, but as they're going back home, they're gonna look to get those 2 games. But if they drop one, this series definitely gonna be very interesting. If they drop game 3 or 4, this series definitely gonna be interesting because at that point, remember the Grizzlies still do have home court.
Home court advantage, exactly.
So who knows? And with Clay and Steph and kind of Jordan Poole both having bad shooting nights so far, anything's possible. Look, anything is possible. So I personally would be rooting for the Grizzlies because I like the underdog story. But if I had to give a prediction and if I had to put some money on it, I would put my money on the Warriors in 6. But
yeah. In 6. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I say they win both games at home. Then the Grizzlies take on game 5, but then the Warriors closed out in 6.
Okay, yeah. I just remember the Grizzlies played at home first. So yeah, in 6, yeah. I could probably agree with you on that. Warriors in 6, yeah.
But hopefully,
but I think Ja has another big game like this somewhere along the line.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know when it will be. Because this series is a lot more evenly matched than people think, you know.
Yeah, it
because
is.
the Warriors, as you said before, the Warriors they have a kind of up and down streak in them as well. There's some of the games where Clay is great, and then there are other games where he's not. And then there's some days where Curry has a good game and he doesn't. The same with Draymond, has a good game, has a doesn't. Andrew Wiggins has also been really disappointing. I think
All-star
Andrew Wiggins was 6 for 16 from the floor, 1 for 7 from 3. Somehow he ended up +3 for the game. I don't know how, but I think it's awful actually. There's also Jordan Poole also wasn't great this game either, even though he ended up with 20 points. Not up to his usual standard. But now that Gary Payton is out, I think they might bring Poole back into the starting 5.
Yeah,
and I think that will probably bring a new dynamic to it as well because Jordan Poole as a starter is pretty good.
As we saw in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
But so just get one quick predictions how we're gonna see it go. So this game, I think we both said Warriors in 6.
Yeah.
I hope we're not wrong. I hope it's Grizzlies in 7 because I would love nothing more than that. But like I say, I think my official prediction is Warriors in 6. Suns and Mavericks. What are you feeling for that one?
Oh my god. My heart tells me Mavs in 7. But my head tells me Suns in 5.
Yeah, I think Suns in 5 as well.
Yeah, I think Suns in 5. I think the Mavs will take 1 game off of them.
Yeah, I think they'll take game 3.
The thing is, it's such a big mismatch, you know. Like it's also a bad matchup for the Mavs as well because they don't really have any like a solid big.
Yeah.
So Aiton and JaVale McGee and even this guy Biyombo.
I
hope I'm saying his name right. Yeah. He also feasted yesterday. So those 3 players alone have caused Dallas a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like I said, my head says Suns in 5. My heart says Mavs in 7.
Yeah, I see Suns in 5 as well. But moving on to the other series we have. I'll leave that one for last. He's in 76ers. What are you saying?
Beat is not coming back for game 3. Heat. Boy, the trouble here is I'm trying to figure out if the 76ers are going to take a game off the Heat. You know what, screw it. Heat and 4.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, Heat and 4. Yeah, I say Heat and 4 as well. And the final game, Boston and Milwaukee. What are we saying?
Bucks and Kev, you know what? I'm gonna make a bold prediction. Gentleman sweep by the Bucks.
Ooh, gentleman sweep
by the Bucks.
Shit. You see, well, that's why we would differ because I think the Celtics get done in 7, you know. I think so.
there's another head versus heart moment, but
yeah.
I really do believe the Bucks will. I think the Bucks will hit them hit the gentleman sweep again. I really do believe so.
Alright, well, yeah. There you have the official predictions and the recap on everything that we missed since our last upload. Yeah, guys, basketball. playoffs is back. Hopefully we're gonna get another video out for you guys. Hopefully by Monday. I'm gonna start back doing my MMA videos, so be on the lookout for that on the channel as well. And yeah, Brandon, anything else you want to say before we close up?
Well, I mean, we have the games tomorrow, so that's good. Good Friday night agenda we have. But you know, your boys Heat playing tomorrow, and my boys the Mavericks playing tomorrow as well.
Hey, yes sir.
Yeah, I think about Monday. I think we should have a better idea of where all of these series are gonna go. So hopefully both of us will still have a team in the playoffs by the time we record again.
Hopefully. But yeah, guys, like I said, that's been it from me and Brandon. Brandon, thanks for joining me as always.
Pleasure, sure.
Yeah, but with that being said, catch you guys later.